So today I'm talking to Rachel Louise, and Rachel Louise does wellness coaching. And would you like to introduce yourself? Because it's not just wellness, is it?
No, absolutely. Hi, Emma. Thank
Hi,
you
Rachel.
so much. Yes, so I'm a wellness and self-leadership coach.
Okay. So what does that mean? Are they two different things?
Well, they are two different things, but they're also very much combined.
Okay.
So wellness is looking at your emotional side, your physical side, very much your well-being. And the self-leadership is a lot around mindset, but also the way that we lead ourselves. So the way that we're able to be aware of our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, and just very mindful on the path that we want to take forward.
Okay. So you work with women mainly.
I do indeed.
Do you work
yes.
only with women?
At the moment, yes,
Yeah.
only with women.
Yeah. Is there a reason for that, or is that just a natural thing that women are drawn to you to work with you?
Yeah, very, very good question. And I think it's very much natural, but also I really enjoy working with women,
Yeah.
and empowering women, and helping women. So that's really where my passion lies. I have had a couple of guy clients in the past, so I never turned down working with men, but my main focus is on helping women.
Yeah. And is it different working with women? Because you're obviously being a woman yourself.
Yes,
You can relate.
I can indeed. Yes, I think I'm more aware of the struggles.
So working with women and mindset. So it's a big thing, isn't it? Because there's lots of things that, not just women, obviously, but if you have children or if you're changing careers, we can get a little bit lost, can't we? So your coaching isn't just for career, it's for any kind of, let's say, mindset. But you say leadership as well. So is that career based?
It's focused on self-leadership. So that's basically yourself, leading yourself,
Okay.
leading yourself in relationships, in career, in day-to-day, in your well-being, and just the way that you show up, which is so important. Sometimes we just get caught up in the moment, and we end up letting life lead us, rather than leading ourselves. So my coaching is focused on coming back to who we are, at the core, and making the choices, to be able to lead ourselves in a way that's going to be best for ourselves to show up and create the life that we want to. I always say we are the creators of our own lives rather than the victim of circumstance, and self leadership is the way to come back to yourself and create the life that you actually want.
Yeah. And a lot of your clients, I mean, they must be quite conscious of the fact that they need to speak to you, they need to see somebody just to help with the guidance, really. So is there a lot of self-awareness before they approach you?
I would say it's a mix. A lot of people come to me when they're feeling the overwhelm. They're really feeling that heaviness inside. Life feels really heavy, and they don't have a moment to slow down because they're either in a pressurized job. They've got a to-do list that's as long as you can imagine, and they just feel the strain and the pressure. And it's when it gets to a boiling point, so it's bubbling up inside, and those emotions as well, your emotions, which then trigger our thoughts, they don't switch off. And that's where the struggle is, and that's where the overwhelm comes from, and that's usually when they reach out for help.
And you're not a counsellor, and that's a good thing as well, because it's not like they're at that point where they need counselling or they need therapy. They just need somebody just to help them focus once again, which is where you come in, I suppose, with the coaching. Or is there a merge? Is it very similar, would you say?
No, there's definitely a difference between counselling and coaching. And counselling is very much looking at your past emotions and trying to diagnose them, and figure out why you're feeling the way you are. Coaching is more about forward momentum, and I guess a lot of my coaching it's definitely 100% forward momentum, but we also look at the root cause for the reason why we're feeling the way we are. And if we try and just tackle the surface level, so what's going wrong in the external, just try and fix that. So for example, I'm not happy at work, and if we just try and fix, you know, let's find you another job, it's only going to make changes to the external, and then, you know, you might get into another job and those same issues come up again. So we really look at the root cause, and a lot of it is to do with the beliefs that we hold about ourselves.
Yeah, I can imagine that, actually.
And it's, you know, change the way you see yourself and you completely change your life. And this is a lot of the stuff, the hard work that we do in my coaching program, is really go back to the core of where these beliefs, what these beliefs are, and, you know, how we see ourselves and how we can change those. You know, we look at the person that we want to become, the life that we want to live. And it's like reverse engineer it. So look at where we want to be, and then we look at how we get there. So the beliefs, behaviors, the thoughts, the actions, the mindset of the woman that we want to be and the life that she's living, and then we ultimately have to step into that. So we have to change our beliefs, we have to change our thoughts, to start living the life that we want.
That sounds big when you talk about it like that. And obviously you work with people over a space of time, a period of time, so it's not something that happens overnight, is it?
No.
You're going to be working with them. I suppose some people are going to get on board with it, with their mindset, quicker than others, but I guess you've got some clients that are quite long term.
I do have two coaching programs. One is for 3 months and one is for 6 months. But most of my clients have a shift in the first week. It's incredible. There is definitely a shift in the first week. A lovely client that I've just been working with for 3 months, she's completely transformed her life in those 12 weeks. She's done a 180. She was
yes. You're selling it to me here.
I think, using her own words, she said, I couldn't believe, you know, the difference I felt in week 1, let alone week 2. And then we're halfway through the program. I've done a 180.
So most of it is all, well, not all mindset, but most of it is mindset, and, as you say, the beliefs and where we want to be. There's a lot of sort of conscious things we need to be doing.
It's we say conscious, but that's through our habits and our actions, but a lot of it is subconscious. So we go back to the root of, you know, where those beliefs come from, and actually start questioning those beliefs. So, for example, with you, Emma, if you wake up and, you know, you're not feeling great, or you have that imposter syndrome where you think that you can't do something, do you ever question, you know, where that belief comes from, or why you're feeling like that?
No, I don't. I just think, oh, it's me having a bad day, or I'm just always like that. That's just the way I am. So yeah, I don't think, oh, it stemmed from something.
It's having that awareness around what's coming up, and a lot of time we just ignore it. We just take it as the stand and go, okay, is this going to stop me? Yeah. And so there's 2 parts. So it's a lot about the beliefs that we hold about ourselves. And we do a lot of identity work. So we step into the identity of the woman that we want to become. So we have to do a lot of visualization around the person that we want to become, and then the beliefs that person has. And it's stepping into the identity of that person and start leading our lives from that identity. And it all stems back to the beliefs. So we can never go further than the beliefs that we hold about ourselves. So if we can only vision ourselves as, you know, at a particular stage of life, and we think that we're not going to go past that, we never will, because that's the belief that we hold about ourselves. So it's very much challenging those beliefs. Where do they come from? You know, how are they stopping us now? Going into the root cause, and then putting habits in place. Like rewiring our mind through our thoughts, our actions, and also with our body, with our emotions that we hold, because it's not just our mindset that we need to work on, it's also our body holds so much of that stress, and if we're constantly in survival mode, in fight or flight, even as much work that we want to do on the mindset, our body won't allow us to do that. It will always bring us back, because that's where the body sees the danger, as the unfamiliar threat. So it will always bring us back. So part of the wellness side is really starting to manage our nervous system as well. and bringing us back to a place where it's regulated.
I
Our
was going
nervous
to say
system
regulated.
is regulated, and we need to reset that. So
So
otherwise,
we're looking at breathing techniques. We're looking at anything physical things that we need to be doing.
Yeah, so
to do that.
So breathing techniques is one of my
breathe,
favorite.
don't we? Sometimes
We do forget to breathe,
especially when we're nervous.
I'll be breathing now. Take a couple of deep breaths. So breathing, any kind of like moving our body or shaking it out, it really starts to reset our nervous system. So those are two big ones, and also just making sure that we're just doing the basics, like staying hydrated as well. That's a big thing. So kind of like movement, hydration, two things that are so easy and simple to help us feel good during the day, and we usually forget to do both of them.
Terrible. I mean, I know how much water I should be drinking, and do I do that? And I do try and do other things. So if I can't manage the water, plain water, I might think I'll just have like a herbal tea just to try and I know it's not the same, or put some cucumber in it, or put some fruit in it, just to make it more interesting, just to make sure that I am getting hydrated, because it can cause a lot of issues, can't it? Brain fog and everything. And as you say, just regulating everything. We need that water, don't we?
We do to like flush out the
flush
toxins.
It all out. Everything, just so much.
It does. Yeah,
and we do forget. And the movement as well.
The movement. Just anything to try and get us out of that fight and flight stage, because it's our body producing so much cortisol because it feels that our body is under attack.
And that's the stress hormone.
That's the stress hormone. And it's great if we are under attack, because it enables us to, get out of danger.
Yeah, we don't want to be the opposite though. We don't want to be too relaxed, because then we won't achieve anything either, because we're too comfortable.
We can kind of like mistake, high achieving versus being on high stress with the cortisol, because you do have, it's part and parcel of it, but it's being able to also de-stress, regulate your nervous system, and you can still have that confidence and the desire to chase things without your body being constantly in stress.
You don't want it long-term stress, do you? You want it to be a short-term thing.
Because if your body's constantly in survival mode, you'll just notice it, even in your skin will start to look dull, your hair will thin, you'll feel tired all the time. It will play havoc with your digestive system, even with your cycle as well. It can even stop your periods. If you're in that constant state where you're preparing yourself for fight or flight.
Weight gain as well.
Weight gain, with the digestive issues. And a lot of women, especially around the perimenopause stage, they do have a lot of bloating, and they, we try and find a reason why that is, and we say, oh, okay, I'm in perimenopause, but a lot of the time your body's just in survival mode. You're so stressed, your body is so stressed that your digestive system's not working properly. It's not doing its job. It's keeping the important organs going, ready for you to fight off danger, and it's like shutting down your digestive system and your reproductive system, because it's reserving that energy for you to get out of danger. But is there really any danger?
No. So again, it comes back to the mindset. So it causes a lot of damage then, doesn't it, really, on the long term? And it's just being aware of that. And so speaking to somebody like yourself and working with you, it can just be an absolute big solution to these issues.
It's addressing both rather than just focusing, trying to change your mindset is great, but if your body is not aligned with it, it's going to feel just like an uphill push the whole time, just constantly trying to talk yourself round, motivate you, but your body's not catching up, because your body's still, your body's still producing all that cortisol, and you feel tired and drained the whole time. So it's about getting that really good alignment between both. And when you do prioritize the rest and prioritize yourself, and take a step back to really make sure that you are the top of your priority, that's when you start to excel in your relationships. You have more energy and time to be present with your loved ones, You're not so irritable all the time as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not so on edge, anxious all the time. Yeah, thinking
Yeah.
about what you need to do. You can actually come back to the present moment and enjoy time. So even if you don't have as much time to spend with your family because you are running a business,
Yeah.
but the time that you do spend with your family, because you have regulated your nervous system, your mind isn't constantly anxious the whole time, stressed out. You can be present in that moment with your family. And then just showing up for work as well. When you have that full confidence and belief, and you see yourself as a powerhouse, someone who's worthy, and you're not questioning yourself the whole time. You're not looking outside of you for validation, because you give that validation to yourself. That's a whole entirely new energy, and you shine on a completely different level. People notice that energy. People notice your presence when you're in the room, because you're not shrinking yourself, or you're not trying to be the loudest.
No, you're just confident.
You're confident. You feel who you are. You're connecting with your authentic self, and that is magnetic. That really is magnetic.
So you're not putting on a front that isn't true to you and looking false. You're just being you, but you're not being too high energy, that you're, as you say, being too loud and trying to get the attention. It's just a case of being you,
because you know who you are, and you're not looking for someone else to tell you who you are, or to say yes, you're due, or you're worthy, because that's all coming from within. And when when we get to that point, which is beautiful, because how much energy do we use each day thinking, what do people think of me, or how do I need to show up to make sure that people are aware of, that I'm doing a good job? That the constant thinking and the energy that you put into that, it's gone. You don't need to do that, and you can bring that back to yourself. And a lot of people say, I don't have time to do these practices that help me to connect back to myself. You do these practices to connect back to yourself, and you have so much more time, because all the time that you're wasting in procrastination or overthinking,
or just distracting yourself. How many people spend hours scrolling when they could be doing something for themselves rather than somebody else?
Exactly.
And it's a little bit like, would you say it's a little bit like self-care, where, I mean, obviously it's slightly different, but we talk about self-care, don't we, like putting yourself first and just doing things to kind of make sure that you're filling your own cup.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not burning out.
Yeah, absolutely. Self-care is top priority. You should be your number one priority ahead of everything else, because if you're not looking after yourself, how can you give energy to others? If you're not filling, like you just said, if you're not filling your own cup, you don't have any other energy to give. And that is all about the self-leadership. Leading yourself in a way where you are prioritizing yourself, you are looking after yourself, and you've got your best interests at heart. And that includes in your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, and in your mindset. And get those three right, and it's inner peace, it's power, it's motivation, it's passion. It all comes together.
I mean, the other thing is, I spoke to somebody else who works mainly with men, actually, but also coaching mindset and wellness, and we talked about people pleasing and saying no. And some people don't like to say no because they feel like, well, they want to please that person. They don't want to be saying no all the time. But that might be something that we need to work on, so that we're not burning ourselves out in that respect, that we're just, somebody wants us to do things for them all the time. We just have to learn to actually, is this working for me, or do I need to say no?
Yeah, absolutely. And we go back again to the root cause. There will be a root cause, likely something from your childhood, why you feel that you have to say yes, and why you have to give validation, and you're not able to put yourself first. And that's a lot of the work that we do, and it stems from root causes, which then causes people pleasing, or not feeling worthy, doubting yourself all the time,
worrying what they're going to think if I say no to them, or letting them down.
Absolutely. They're all linked from how we feel about ourselves. When we change how we feel about ourselves internally, it just manifests in the external, because if we're feeling confident, we're feeling worthy as we are, without having to prove, overgive, people please, you know, if we're confident in who we are as a person, and we can say to someone, you know, that doesn't align, that doesn't serve me, you know, and you're seeing yourself as your top priority, then you will be able to say no, and it won't be uncomfortable.
No, because you don't want to be the kind of person that comes across as being unkind, or you're not generous, or you won't do anything for anybody else. You're not just sort of shutting people down. You're just picking and choosing what's right for you.
Yeah. And you're doing it in a way where you're respecting your own energy and boundaries, and that's important. You know, you know what your priorities are, and if you're one of your top priorities, and you know that if I keep on giving my energy away all the time, then, you know, I don't have anything for myself, which then shows up as me being grumpy at home, shouting at my kids, or, you know, just constantly scrolling or distracting because I just feel totally overwhelmed. So me saying yes all the time, how is that serving me? If I get to the point where I see myself as that top priority, and I'm going to say, like, I'm going to honor my time and my energy because I'm important, and there's things that I want to achieve, and I can say no without feeling, you know, without then having the spiral of, oh my goodness, what are they thinking? You know, and start going into self-sabotage then. And then, you know, even though you've said no, you're still in your mind thinking, oh my goodness, do they hate me? Or, you know, do I come across like this? You're still worrying about what others think of you, because
exactly you're not what I'm like, actually.
You're not comfortable with who you are as a person. If you know, if you do it from an intention of, you know, I'm important, you know, I need to honor my energy. It doesn't mean that I'm unkind. And this is a lot of thing about the beliefs as well. We go back to the beliefs from the beginning. So if I say no, you know, what does saying no mean to you? And if it comes across like, oh, you know, people think that I'm unkind, and what does it mean? Where did that come from? Like, really start to question it, because, and then you're like, oh my goodness, it's something that I learned when I was a kid, that if I said no, this would happen. And you're carrying that from your childhood into your adult, and it's impacting everything, every decision, every action. So if we get to the bottom of it, to the root cause, and understand it more, then able to direct that energy back into ourselves, it's so much easier to make those decisions with confidence without worrying about what other people will think, because we can say it in a way that's still kind. We can say no and still be, you know, without being on the defense, because a lot of the times when we say no, why it comes across as being unkind, because we're saying no, and then we've got like 100 reasons in our head to defend that reason, and we feel that we're then projecting that onto the person, you know, and we build stories around it. You know, I'm going to say no because you always ask me for something, and then this defensiveness comes in, and then when you say no, the other person feels that, because you've got all this negative energy spiraling around, because it's been playing with your mind for so
again
long.
We're projecting onto them, really. And it might not even be necessary. I mean, actually, I did say no to somebody yesterday. They wanted me to do something that I don't know. It was an Instagram DM. I do get those quite a lot, and it wasn't that I didn't want to do this for that person. It was a bit of a collaboration, but more so for their business rather than for me. So I didn't feel like it aligned with me and my brand. And they weren't in my area as well. So I'm quite sort of a local business. But I did say no to them, but in a way of kind of, I tried to find a solution for them. So I tried to suggest somebody else that they could work with that would be more suitable for them. So it was fine, actually. I kind of didn't feel so bad. When normally, if I say no, it does go on in my mind. I think, oh gosh, and then what if I go and do something for somebody else? Will that person look at that and think, you did it for them, you didn't do it for me? It's that overthinking, isn't it? You can overthink.
And the spiral.
That spiral.
And then the energy you lose with it.
And we've been carrying that since possibly childhood for some of us.
Yeah.
If that's where it stemmed from.
If that's where it stemmed from.
I mean, it could stem later on in life with the relationships, but usually it's a learnt behaviour, isn't it?
It is a learnt behaviour. And then learnt behaviour can be unlearned. And that's the power of neuroplasticity. We can rewire our mind, and it starts with our thoughts. But if we don't question them, if we never question thoughts and ask, where do they come from? Are they even true? We're just going to carry them forever from a story that we possibly just made up in our head.
So if we've been carrying it for so long, and then we kind of, as you say, we unlearn it, is that something that that's a tool. Is it a tool, or is it something that is now there and that's forever now? Like, does that make sense? So we've unlearned it and we're going to go forward
Yes.
in that way.
Yes,
And that's,
yeah. So we create new neural pathways through
Yeah.
rewiring our
Wow.
mind. Yeah, but then it does take time. You know,
Yeah.
these are actions and habits that we have to put in on a daily basis, and remind ourselves of our beliefs, and you know how we view ourselves and how we want to view ourselves, and keep on coming back to that. And that's the beautiful thing about visualization. If you're able to spend time each day visualizing yourself as the woman you want to become, living the life that you want, and start embodying those emotions while you're in visualization, your body doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. So if you start feeling, really embodying those emotions and feeling them, you can train your body as well as your mind into your future self, into the version of you that you want to become. And you know, it all starts from the beliefs, but you know, we have to question our current beliefs and where they come from, and then you know, change them to reflect the person that we do want to become.
And it's not like we're going to bed at night and dreaming about the person we want to be. We are basically living it. It's the belief thing, isn't it? Belief is a powerful thing. Once you get to the point of belief, that's very powerful in your mind, isn't it?
Yeah. So for example, say with your podcast, if you wanted to be you know, a national podcast, should I say national or international podcast?
Yeah.
But if you're telling yourself, you know, I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to, you know, this is, I'll never, that will never.
My friends are listening.
Yes, exactly. And that's your beliefs. Your dreams will never go past what your belief is you have about yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're telling yourself, I'm going to be an international podcaster, you know, you're already putting that energy out into the field.
And then I'm going to put more energy into making sure that happens as well. Then it's
Indeed.
not like it's magic, like it's just thinking it's going to happen. It then reinforces the behavior behind it.
It does reinforce the behavior. And the opportunities as well. I think it's like something like 11 million bits of data our mind processes every second, but we have a filter and a lens that only takes in about 40 to 50 pieces of data. And if our mind is thinking of all the worst scenarios that are going to happen, we're not filtering in opportunities, bits of data that are available to us. But if we change our thinking to always be looking for opportunities, the positive, to align with the person that we want to become, we're going to be on the lookout for opportunities rather than what's not happening for us. It's like, for example, if you ever, as a child, spot the red car.
Yes. Yeah.
And once your mind's thinking about that, you see red cars all over the place. Or if you buy a new car and that brand and model, suddenly you see that brand and model everywhere, because that's one of the bits that they were always there. Those cars were always traveling, always around us. We never noticed it because it wasn't one of the bits of data that our mind was focused on.
I understand.
So think about now if there's opportunities to grow your podcast, but if you didn't think they were available to you ever, you would never be looking out for them.
Got you. And it's like, as you say, and it fits with everything in life. So our lives, our businesses, our jobs, our whatever. You know, I know somebody who does a lot of manifestation.
Yes.
I don't know if that's something completely different.
There's a link in there. Yes, definitely.
And she manifested that she'll meet her husband and get married, and she did.
Yeah.
Amazing. She's like, it was like the next day or something. It was something crazy like that. She went to a party or something and met her now husband. You know,
that's incredible. It does, and we train our brain to look out for it, because if our narrative is there's no one out there for me, or, you know,
we need to be open then, don't we?
Men, you know, there's no good men out there, and I'm never going to meet someone. You know, she's so closed off with it, with her energy, not just her energy, but her thoughts as well. So if someone did approach, you know, her mind's not open to meeting them. So you're going to miss that opportunity.
It's all about opportunities.
It is.
Mindset, being open.
It is. Or going into work, if you're feeling so stressed and overwhelmed at work, and you're saying, I know my boss is just going to be on my case as soon as I get in. you go into work, and then the thing that you pick up is your boss, and you can see that he's got, you know, a look on his face, and think, oh my goodness, he's in a bad mood, he's in a bad mood. But going around or in the background, there's lots of opportunities for you to meet and connect with other people, collaborate, or, you know, something good, because your mind is so focused on the bad, you're missing all these opportunities. And it's similar to a client that I've just been working with, and she was ready to quit her job at the end of September. So we started in June, and she was like, I just need to get through to September, and then I've been in this role for a year, and then I can quit. And that was her thinking. We've done the work together. We've rewired her thinking, her habits, her beliefs. We've looked at her emotions, etc. Now she sees possibilities at work. She said, I actually enjoy in some aspects of work, and it's not, I don't want to stop working now. And she's putting in meetings to connect with other people, and there's joy in
her job now.
Joy in her job now, because she's changed her thinking. Before it's just, I just need to get through to September, because it's,
I'm gonna leave.
I need to leave.
But as you say, if you've always got that sort of mindset, the next job that you go to, you're going to be the same. So it's us sometimes, isn't it? It's not other people, it's not them, it's us.
Yes, it is us. It is us, because we're like, okay, I'm going to be happy when I get this new job, you know, when I'm out of this job and I go into this job.
But then you're always kind of wishing your life away.
You're wishing your life away, and you're giving away your power to the external. When this happens, I'll be happy. Or when I meet a guy, this, you know, I'll be happy. Why can't you be happy now? You know, and once you meet that guy, you know, you're saying that your happiness only comes when something comes into your life. You know, you bring the happiness. When you bring the joy and the happiness and the inner peace, then it flows into every other area of your life. And it's what happened to me. You know, I was very much always looking to the future, saying, when this happens, I'll be happy. When this happens, I'll be happy. And I would get to that thing, and yes, there would be a moment of joy, and I'd be like, yeah, but it was very short. It was very short-lived. It's very short-lived, and I go back into the chase again. Okay, I'm going to be happy. And then you miss all these beautiful moments in the present moment, because your mind's always on the case of, I'll be happy when this happens. And also, we just give away our power. We give away our power to everyone else.
So is this why you came in, you wanted to go into coaching then? Is that one of the reasons, because you could see it in yourself, and you kind of, did you work with a coach yourself and then decide that you wanted to help others?
Yeah, so I completely transformed my life. I'm a completely different person to who I was before. I was so overwhelmed. And I probably, if you looked on paper, I had a very nice life, but inside I just felt this heaviness. I felt unfulfilled. I was so disconnected from myself. I didn't even really know who I was, or, you know, my interests or likes, or, you know, just went along with things and like, okay, does this bring me happiness? Again, looking for something outside of me and always chasing the next thing. I was in a marriage that I wasn't happy in, that thought I needed to stay. There was just so many different things, and it was really coming back to myself, reconnecting back to myself, rebuilding that inner trust as well, that self-trust, and knowing that I could, whatever comes up, I could handle it. And that was the big thing, because I didn't trust myself before. You know, I didn't trust that I would be okay on my own, or I would be okay in any situation, because I always needed something outside of me to help me. And then when I realized that I had everything I needed inside, and anything outside was just bringing value, or if it didn't serve me, I would let it go. That just changed everything, because I didn't need anything. And, you know, I was able then to move forward. And because I was in that energy space of, I don't know, vibrating inner peace, where, you know, I wasn't looking for something externally, everything just started to align. Everything just started to line and flow as it should. So I got to that frequency where I started to attract in other things at the same frequency, that frequency of love, of happiness, of inner peace, rather than validation, approval, looking for things outside of me. But yeah, I did a few spiritual retreats, which really helped me come back to myself. And I was like, shit, if I can change, you know, if I can change from the way that I was to the way that I am, and it was this feeling, like, it's hard to describe, but this feeling of inner peace, was just
calm.
so liberating.
Must be
it
a
was just
calm,
so liberating.
yeah.
Yeah, I just felt so liberated.
And
Where
that's a dream, you know, just to have that. Just have that inner peace and calm. And yeah, I mean, the stress is never going to go away, because I don't mean that like permanently, but you're always going to feel emotions. But to live with it on a day to day and just
heavy
and always looking for things,
it's so heavy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, can't they?
And this is what's happened with my clients. So the client that I've just spoken about, none of her external circumstances have changed. It's still exactly the same, but she's changed.
She's done it.
And she sees things differently now. Like, her environment is reacting to how she feels inside now, but nothing physically has changed. The job's still there. You know, the job hasn't changed. It's the way she feels. And mainly it's the way she feels about herself, because how we feel inside, we project that on a daily basis to everyone.
Yeah, and you get people that are quite negative people, don't you? And if you're speaking to somebody who's completely negative, it brings you down. So then, as you say about your whole environment, it can really affect that whole environment, can't it?
It does.
Yeah.
And people, just in general, if people are quite mean, it's usually a projection of how they're feeling inside about themselves.
Yeah.
And they project it onto you, and it could be mean because it's how they feel.
Yeah.
If you're a happy person, secure, content, and you've got nothing but love and peace, that's what you're projecting. You know, someone else who's doing well, it's not going to affect you, because you don't need those external validation or improvement. You know, you can be happy for that person because you're happy inside.
Yeah. It's fascinating. And when you start talking about it like that, it all kind of, oh yeah, you know, it kind of starts to kind of go ping in your brain. I think, everything you're saying just makes complete sense.
It does.
But it's not an easy thing to just sort of, as you say, you need to work with somebody like yourself just to kind of get to that point. It's not something that you can kind of go away and go, oh yeah. I mean, somebody might be able to, but you need to unwire your brain, don't you, and relearn, as you say.
You do. You do, and question those beliefs. And it's hard to question your own beliefs when you're trying to do it for yourself and not having someone work alongside you. And to hold that space for you as well, because a lot of heavy stuff can come up as well. A lot of emotions that we've been holding on to and storing inside our body. And that's the beautiful thing about the wellness side, is about regulating our nervous system. And I'm also a Reiki healer, so I do a lot of energy healing as well. But you know, getting our chakras back in balance and releasing those emotions, because emotions aren't bad. You know, emotions are there to be felt. And often we kind of push them down because they're too painful. But where do they go when we push them down? They stay in our body and they stay in our nervous system, and that's what dysregulates our nervous system, and that's what causes stress to our immune system, why we get sick. But emotions are there to be felt. You know, if we're feeling anger, let it out, release it.
Let it hold it.
No, let it go. What's it trying to show you about yourself? Because these emotions are usually mirrors that are trying to show us something about that we need to learn, or we need to let go of, we need to heal.
And we are humans, so we are going to feel all those emotions at some point.
It's beautiful. That's the beautiful thing about being human, that we get to feel all those different emotions.
But it's how long we stay in there. So with anger, I mean, I work a lot with emotions with my daughter, and we even have like we have like a little mood meter, and it's got the reds and the blues and the yellow, you know, the high energy, the low energy, the negative, the positive. And it's okay to feel angry, but don't stay angry, or it's the way that you portray it. You know, if you start flipping out or throwing things, you know, it's getting too far. But it's okay to feel those emotions.
It is, and acknowledge them when they come up without judging them, you know, or putting a story to them, because that's half the time we feel these emotions. They can usually pass within 90 seconds. So if we let the emotion come up and we try and be like an outsider and acknowledge it, no judgment, just let it come out and let it flow through us, because emotions are energy in motion, and it will usually pass within 90 seconds. But what causes anger to stay, or other emotions is to stay, when it comes up, we judge it and we attach a story to it, and then we start replaying that story afterwards, and that will reactivate that emotion again. But if we're able to let it go, acknowledge it, and it's not that simple, it's not that easy, you know, it takes practice, because especially when you're in a moment and it's very heightened, it is difficult. But the more you bring awareness to it, the more you're able to do it, and the more you're able to teach your brain how to do it. But yeah, let it pass for 90 seconds, felt judging it, without attaching a story to it. And I bet you will feel so much better afterwards, because you won't be replaying that story and then reactivating.
Is that like
emotion.
associating it with when you say with the story? Because you can have associations, can't
Yes.
you? It's like having panic attacks and having them in the same situations. You kind of associate it with being in that moment.
Yeah. So the anger comes up, and if it's something to do with, you know, what happened at work, and you're attaching, oh, because they always do this, and you know, and every time that you think of that person afterwards of that story, it's going to reactivate it. But it's just let it go. You know, what you need to do is like scream into a pillow, or just let it come out, and try not to judge it, and know that it will pass. It's temporary. Emotions are temporary.
And then we were saying about the wellness side and moving. Movement's very good for releasing anxiety and stress.
Yes, it is.
And is it serotonin levels go up? So I mean, I do the Joe Wicks. Everybody knows that I do lots of workouts, quite intense workouts as well. So how does it work in terms of, like, when you talk about the wellness side? Do you just advise that people just find something that works for them? Or when you're saying about sort of movement, would you kind of, do you know other people? You do Reiki, but do you know people that might do yoga or Qigong, or something that you might kind of, I don't know, recommend that your clients go and do?
So it's really on an individual basis. Like, we talk through what kind of exercise is good for them, but 100% encourage, you know, people to exercise, and first thing in the morning, you know,
going for a walk,
being outside in the sunlight, because you're getting your serotonin from the exercise and movement, even just from walking, also from the sunlight, and clearing your mind as well, not always being distracted, or, you know, listening to music or being on your phone. The habits you build in the morning, you know, 100% do not look at your phone, because if you're pulled into the day ahead with all the notifications, what's going on, the stress, you know,
rabbit hole.
You haven't even had a chance to, you know, center yourself before you start the day, and you're immediately jumping into this stress. And what I love about the beliefs is, and this is what I, you know, ask my clients to do, especially at the beginning of our sessions, is we run through the beliefs that they hold about themselves, and reconfigure them to the woman that they want to become. And, you know, the first thing that they do when they get up is either write out their beliefs or read them out, because that's when we're coming from the subconscious to the conscious. So we're already setting our day up with the intention of the woman that we want to be, prior to letting the outside noise,
external things,
come in and distract us. But so it's very much the wellness side is on habits, looking after ourselves, making sure that we hydrate, just the simple things as well. And we're doing stuff for us, and, you know, our diet as well. So serotonin, the majority of serotonin is produced in our guts. But if we're constantly in survival mode, and we've got all of that cortisol being built up, we're not producing that serotonin. Or if we've got bad diets and our digestive system's not working, again, with the cortisol build up, it stops our digestive system working. We're not going to be producing that serotonin, and that's why a lot of people as well then don't feel great. So, but we're not doing anything to help ourselves. If we've got a bad diet, we're not drinking water, or we're waiting until we're completely parched until we have some water, and not taking sips throughout the day. We're not moving our body. We're not doing anything to help ourselves. And then if we're trying to, like, read just a motivational book and say, oh, it doesn't work, it's, you know, it's the whole package. It's getting these habits in place, habit stacking, and seeing ourselves as the top priority. And a lot of people want to say, oh, I want to exercise, because
I don't have time.
I don't have time, or, you know, I should exercise because I need to lose weight. But if you're in the mindset of, I'm exercising because I love myself, I love my body, I want to make sure I'm the healthiest person ever because I'm so appreciative of this vessel that's carrying me, it's a completely different intention, isn't it? Not because you have to, it's because you want to honor and nourish and look after who you are. But if your mindset is, I have to do this, or I should be doing this,
it's like a chore. I mean, I know so many people that they see exercise as a chore. Maybe it stems from their PE days. So again, we're going back to childhood. I know so many people that give up because they haven't lost weight, and as we're educating ourselves, we know that weight loss on the scale doesn't actually mean fat loss, so that's a different subject altogether. But actually, the way that I see it is that while I'm physically able to do a burpee, it doesn't have to be a burpee, it could be just a walk, but I am that kind of person, I will do it, and I will do it as long as I can physically do it. And I'm grateful. And again, I suppose it's gratitude that you need to kind of look at the sort of, I can move, I have my health and I can physically do it. And if that was taken away from me, I would be like, oh, okay, I wish that I could do that. So while we can do it, I think it's really important. And as you say, we're looking, it's the longevity, isn't it?
It's the longevity, and doing something that makes you feel better. How do you feel after exercising?
I just feel great, and it, as you say, it's the whole package. It reduces the stress. It just helps with everything, and that's when the motivation kicks in, everything. And I start my day. I get up, and it's the first thing I do.
Oh, amazing! I love that.
I'll put my gym kit and I go to my kitchen, put my mat out, and do my 30-minute. I don't do a lot, but I do it every day.
Yeah, I do the same. I'm at home as well now. I used to go to the gym, but it's so much easier just pulling the mat out at home and doing it at home.
There's so many YouTube things. Find something that suits you. I do net walking as well, and I walk as much as I can. So getting outside is good. My daughter says go out and touch some grass, so it must be a it must be a saying that these kids
it's so grounding.
But that's what they say, is go out and touch some grass. But it is grounding, isn't it? They say that you need to be physically touching.
Anywhere in nature, I just feel so much more relaxed and calm when I'm in nature. It's the first thing I do, and I remember before, if I was feeling stressed or there's lots to do at work and I was feeling overwhelmed, I would just push myself more and more and more. But now this is when I take a break, and I go out and I have that 15-20 minutes in nature, and I come back and I feel so much more calmer, connected, and then able to fly through what I need to do for the rest of the afternoon.
Bit of creativity as well, because you'll be able to think about what you're doing next. But everything, just the whole thing, isn't it?
And we often wait for motivation before we take action.
But it's the other
way around, like you said. Action
creates
motivation. But it's addressing people who don't want to exercise, or they're saying I can't, or I don't have time. This is a belief that they hold about themselves. I don't have time to exercise.
You've got time to sit and scroll, so just stick your gym kit on and or even do it in your pajamas, get your mat out and just do 10 minutes.
Exactly. Or the belief this never works. That's why people give up, because they try to do something and it doesn't work straight away, and they tell themselves this never works. So this is the belief they have about themselves. It never works. So you're never going to be greater than the belief that you hold about yourself. So that's why it's so important to change your beliefs, because your beliefs
are holding you back.
Who you believe change who you believe you are, and then you change your life. And it's so simple. And I get really passionate about it, because it's so simple. And when we understand this and we put it into practice, this is where we make huge changes in our life.
So it's simple, but for some people they see it as a huge thing. But once you start looking at it, actually, it's not.
Well, they don't know. People don't know how. They don't know how to start. They don't know where to start.
They get overwhelmed.
They get overwhelmed, or they never question things as well.
And like with the nutrition, I mean, do you advise? Because obviously you're not a nutritionist.
I'm not a nutritionist, no.
But do you kind of just sort of give advice, or do you refer to people that you might know, or do you just sort of say just do simple things like cut out the UPFs, or try and eat whole foods, or try not to eat
so I can't give specific nutritional advice. So I don't have the qualifications to do that, but just asking my clients to look at their life on a whole, and how they I can advise on certain things, and I can say what's helped, but specifically if they have a nutritional problem. But I think people know, if you're eating a lot of fast food, you're not drinking water, you're having 6 or 7 coffees a day, and you're drinking lots of alcohol,
then those changes,
it's going to have a huge impact on the way that you're feeling.
Brilliant. Well, so if somebody wants to work with you, do you work with people in person, or do you work with people remotely? or both?
Yeah, both.
Or
So
either?
so mainly online,
Okay.
but I am based in High Wycombe,
Yeah.
and I do some in-person work if people are in the local area and they prefer to have that, you know, that face-to-face sessions, which some people do. Lots of people. I work international as well, so I have clients across the globe. And connect online.
Oh, fabulous. So where can we find you then?
You can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. And
Rachael Louise Coaching.
Rachael Louise Coaching on Instagram,
Yeah.
and then you can find me under Rachael Rizga on LinkedIn. But I can share those IG handles with you.
You can, yes.
Yeah. Those.
And your website is
rlwellnessandcoaching.com.
Yes, lovely.
Lovely.
Oh, thank you for talking to me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. It's been lovely.